Thanks, Pete. It is Getaway May, but maybe you won't be able to win one of our trips to Minocqua. Still, there are ways you can get away from the stresses of your life. And Dr. Tara Robertson is a clinical psychologist with Bellin Health, and she's here to talk about finding your happy place. So you don't have to take a trip, right, to do so?
No, you don't have to take a trip. Actually, you can probably find your happy place in your home or in your backyard, Rachel.
Does your whole well-being change if you can find something that makes you happy, like physically make you feel better?
Absolutely. We know that there are a lot of chemical changes that take place in the body when we experience happy moments, whether that be through exercise or gardening or any other sort of activity that we find enjoyable.
Well, you bring up gardening, and that's kind of what started this whole idea about finding your happy place, because in the last 5 years or so, I started gardening. And when I go to a nursery or a garden, I see other people who have that bug. They get really happy about it, just being part of that whole community, I guess. And what is it about that? You say there's actually research done about it.
There's actually a whole field, and it's called ecopsychology. And what it looks at is the benefits of gardening, being out in nature, and how that affects our moods and our behaviors. So there are a lot of great studies to really support the feeling of well-being when we get out and garden.
Can you take advantage of that even if you're not a gardener?
Absolutely. The bottom line is finding an activity that is enjoyable to you. So if you don't want to garden, maybe it's out playing soccer, maybe you like taking walks, and just walking in nature they've found is even beneficial.
What about exercise? We always hear, make sure you're exercising. It helps not just your physical appearance, but also your mental health. Is that true?
Absolutely true. We've all probably heard of the runner's high, and when the endorphins kick in after an excessive amount of exercise and how wonderful people start feeling, it does affect our mood. It helps produce some of these feel-good chemicals in our body, and it helps bring a general sense of well-being. It's great for lowering depression, and it's fantastic for lowering anxiety as well.
Yoga, the same way. You don't get the runner's high from yoga, but you get something else.
Absolutely. With yoga, we actually see lower levels of cortisol, and cortisol is a chemical in our body that tends to raise when we're feeling very stressed. So by doing yoga, it's a great way to get that down, and it also decreases inflammation in our body, which is great for chronic medical conditions.
I want to talk a little bit about friendships too, whether it's getting out, meeting friends for a walk or a yoga class, or socializing with them in any way. Are friendships important to your happiness?
Absolutely. Friendships are hugely important. In fact, when I'm treating somebody who is really struggling with depression, this is one area that we really try to focus on. Oftentimes people tend to become very withdrawn. They want to stick to their home. They don't feel like going out, being around other people. And it's one of the most beneficial and important things that they can do. It's hard to be depressed when you're around others and you're having a good time and laughing and engaging in activities that you really enjoy.
What do you tell your patients who may be lonely and seeking friendships? How do you start?
You know what? Actually, I tell them, get out, garden, get involved with other things around your community, because these are a great way to connect with other people and also help lower your stress. And you never know who you might meet, and you can really form some great connections through these activities.
So we didn't give anything away during this segment except for some free advice, some great advice. Dr. Robertson, thank you so much for stopping by and helping all of us find our happy place.
Absolutely.
Coming up next half hour, we're going to actually meet a so-called plantaholic and check out her garden. So that'll be a great tie-in. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Have a great day. We'll be right back. You're watching Good Day, Wisconsin.